guys, it's Sam and welcome to a reading vlog. So it's cozy and like getting chilly out. It's October 6th and I felt like I really wanted to do a cozy reading vlog. So today I'm actually starting the Kiss Quotient by Helen Wong. This was my Patreon book pick for the month. So every month my Patreon supporters get to vote in a poll about a book that I'll read and review. And for this month I wanted to read some contemporary romances and I didn't have a lot on my shelf, some adult contemporary romances. I had none on my shelf. I had none. I had ones that I wanted to read and buy, but I hadn't yet, whatever. So I asked Twitter first for the recommendations, and then the top 3 most recommended books I put in the Patreon poll. And this is the one that won, which is funny because I wasn't expecting it to win, because on Twitter, the one with the most recommendations didn't win, because I think that one is more well-known in the romance community and just came out, and this one is more universally known because it's a few years old. So I decided to get it from the library. My library is like 2 minutes from my house, but I've gone for like book clubs and stuff, but I've never gone to actually get books because it's so small and I always feel like there's not anything there. But I end up finding this because I wasn't sure that I wanted to buy it and if I'm going to like it, because people have warned me that it's pretty smutty. So I'm not sure that I'm going to necessarily enjoy it. It was a book that I've heard a lot about over the years, but never really like myself wanted to pick up. Like it's just fine. So intrigued about how I'm going to feel about this. So as with any reading vlog, this vlog may very well have spoilers, but like I've talked about before, spoilers for romance books are a little different because you know that the characters are going to get together. But right now I'm not quite going to start this because Tally and I, who's growling at a dog apparently, barking maybe possibly miles away, are gonna go to the dog park. It's a like gloomy-ish day outside, but it's still like nicer temperatures. I can just wear a sweater and whatever. She doesn't know we're going to the dog park, but we are. And this video is being sponsored by Skillshare, which I will talk about later. Do you want to go to the dog park? Do you want to go to the park? Yeah. Do you want to go play with your friends? That's so exciting. Yeah, that's so exciting. So we are back from the dog park. A little disappointing because there wasn't a ton of dogs there. I thought there would be because it's warm out, but a little overcast, so that's nice. But that's a two-sided dog park, and usually Tally and I play on the big dog side because she loves big dogs. And this time there was only little dogs, which is fine, but like she just doesn't get to run around as much. So I did that and then a little walk. She seems like she's happy with it though. I think she's happy with it. Did you have a good time? Hope you had a good time. So I still haven't started my book, obviously, because I brought it, but when you go to the dog park, you want to be like keeping an eye on your dog in case they be an asshole about something. So I didn't want to be that person that's like mindlessly reading my book and not paying attention to my animal, you know? But then I went to the grocery store, and you know what it is? It's sweet potato season, and I am hyped because I've been waiting since like the spring is when they start getting like teeny tiny and like you can't even eat them, and it's one of my favorite things to eat. I basically eat it. If I could, I'd eat it year round. But I can't since apparently we don't get the bigger ones year round all the time, although I feel like we used to. So I'm very happy about that. And this discovery, the limited edition flavor for fall right now, along with mint chocolate chip ice cream, which is weird, is maple cream Oreos. So if y'all aren't familiar, yes, I'm setting you in my cupboard, congratulations. My plants are back there. I do love Oreo limited edition flavors. And these, I assume, are supposed to taste like those maple leaf cookies that the Canadians get. It says golden cookie with maple cream flavor, and the maple leaf cookies usually have like a maple flavor to them as well, but I still think this is gonna be good. I was right. I should have gotten 2 containers of them. This is so good. This may rival the cookie butter flavor, which to date is still my favorite flavor. I also picked up some, what are these even called? English muffins in pumpkin spice flavor. Fuck yeah. So just embracing those fall flavors. I guess this is a grocery haul now. I'm not going to show you everything else I got. They're just the really good fall things. Okay, actual reading update. I am 2 chapters in. I also have a cat in my lap. So I'm 2 chapters in, and I didn't realize it was going to be dual perspective, which I like. I also am liking the writing style so far. So that is definitely good. I'm liking the Asperger's representation as well, and just like the sex aversion stuff. It's obviously an Own Voices story because this author apparently is on the autism spectrum, Asperger's potentially. So all of that feels very true. And also since the most recent romance book I read was The Hating Game. I'm comparing how I didn't like the writing in that one to how I'm liking the writing so far in this one. So intrigued, definitely. I've had some people message me and warn me that the sex scenes in here are pretty explicit. So we'll see how me liking the writing goes for the sex scenes, if they're going to be too much for me or whatever. So far so good. I'm probably going to keep reading since I'm trapped here. So everyone's been warning me that this book has a lot of sex in it and is really explicit, but I'm 100 pages in and they haven't had sex yet. I mean, they're like doing stuff, but nothing that I would consider super explicit. So I guess it's just gonna be in the next like 200 pages that they're gonna just like have sex all the time. I don't know. But so far, really liking it. I mean, obviously I've been like 100 pages into it. You know, contemporary books are bingeable like this. So I'm liking it so far, and a lot more than I thought I was going to, because like I said, I like the writing style. I like that it's a biracial relationship because he is half Swedish, half Korean. This is future me. I just said that he is Korean and Swedish. He's Vietnamese and Swedish because I got to a point where his mom and him are speaking Vietnamese. The reason I said Korean is because I just finished another contemporary romance, but not quite, where the main guy was biracial, Indian and Korean, I believe. So that's why I got it mixed up, so apologies. I'm surprised because I thought when I heard the synopsis of like, the girl hires an escort, that he would be like, not like he is. I was expecting just like a ton of sex from the beginning and sort of like a dumb guy, I guess. I mean, I didn't realize that was my expectation until I started reading this, but I thought that he was gonna be more of just like a stud. I don't know. And he's very cute and their chemistry is really good. Like, it is giving me butterfly feelings, and that's how I gauge romance books and how much I like them, is if I get like little butterfly feelings. So I like their interactions, and I like how sweet he is with her because she obviously has different like social things that she doesn't understand, and like overstimulation and stuff that happens when she's like in certain situations or whatever. So but he doesn't realize that she has Asperger's. So yeah, I'm just like, this is really cute. And like the sex aversion thing, reading about that for a book that potentially might get more explicit, I think is good, because that's something that I've experienced in the past. So I think if a book is going to get more explicit, starting with a character who's not like super into sex at the beginning is kind of a nice transition into that from books that I've read before that are a little bit more fade to black kind of stuff. So yeah, liking it so far. I mean, look at how much I've read in a day. Romance books are so quick to fly through. It just makes me feel so good about my reading. I'm gonna take a break from the reading to get some cleaning stuff done and some bullet journal stuff done because it's a Sunday. So on Sunday afternoon / evenings, I will usually do my next week bullet journal spread and things and do some like cleaning and stuff. It feels like it should be later in the day because it's been gloomy out all day, but it's only like almost 5 o'clock. I feel like I've done so much, even though today's been like super lazy. So this is also my 4th or 5th Oreo since I've gotten these because they're so good. Can you hear how loud she's purring? You're so loud. Why do you purr so loud? Refilled my humidifier, so can turn that on for the plant things. Oh, it's really great when I don't put the lid on. I'm so stupid. I've done that before, not put the lid on, and then there's been just like moisture everywhere. But that's my humidifier that I use for these 2 plant babies. This is my one that got destroyed, RIP. And that's why I have things packed on the top of the fridge so Kit can't get to them. But yeah, these 2 are still looking okay. You know, he took a lot of damage, but he's doing all right, my little battle scar baby. But I don't love this humidifier because I feel like it gets like mildewy stuff in it really easy. So if any of you love plants as well and have a humidifier for your plants, holler at me because I might get a new one. This book has fake dating. No one told me there'd be fake dating. I thought there might be fake dating. I thought maybe they would actually like go on a like one fake date, but there's gonna be like potentially long-term fake dating. I'm just saying, I don't know why I wasn't informed. Pretty sure I'm gonna be halfway done with this book by the end of the night. Didn't plan on reading this book in potentially 2 days, but I might. That's what happened with the Unhoneymooners. And then if I decide to make this a 1-book vlog, it's gonna be a short vlog. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, okay? Okay, we'll see. I'm gonna make these sweet potatoes now. So I have them for the whole week. It's gonna be amazing. I'm so excited. So while the oven preheats, I'm going to work on my next week's bullet journal spread as well as my quarterly goal spread, because right now it's the 6th of October and I do my goals by quarters as far as like big goals and things that I want to get done that feed into my very vague yearly goals, and it's been working really well for me. So October was the start of a new quarter, very last quarter of the year, so I want to have that spread done as well. So here is what my quarterly goals page looks like, and then I do little offshoots from here with little like check boxes and stuff with goals and stuff that fit into different categories. I'm not going to show you that because that's my business. Tally's barking at a dog in the distance. Love that about her, obviously. So the last quarter's goals are all the things that I haven't quite managed to do yet, or just really are more building on things that I've done the rest of the year. Like I said, I've broken all of my like larger goals into smaller goals throughout the year, and I really like that, and that's worked really well. And I've also been able to like sort of evolve goals as the year goes on, and I maybe discover new things I want to do or have new tasks I need to get done or whatever. But with talking about goals, now is a really good time to talk about Skillshare, who are sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online learning community that I'm sure many of you have heard about. They've been talked about a lot on YouTube before, and they have thousands of online classes in plenty of different topics: arts, creativity, productivity, things like that. And a premium membership gives you unlimited access to all of those classes. So if you have some goals that you want to get done by the end of the year, Skillshare might be a good option for you. I know a lot of you have talked about maybe starting a YouTube channel or a BookTube channel. Skillshare has videos on iPhone videography, so how to shoot videos on your phone and edit them. Or maybe you had more ambitious goals like learning how to brew your own beer. Skillshare also has classes on stuff like that. Skillshare is also affordable, with an annual subscription being less than $10 a month, which is obviously less expensive than like in-person classes or workshops. If you are interested in trying out Skillshare for yourself, you can check out the link down below in the description, and that will give you 2 months free to see if you like it. So my broad goals I have broken up into financial, career, physical, mental, and relationships, and miscellaneous, which I have for just like cleaning and things like that. So I usually have at least one goal in each category, and yeah, so I'm just kind of building on what I did the last quarter, which I got a lot of this stuff done, and then some stuff I realized like, oh, I don't care that much, so I didn't do it. Or like, for example, I wanted to get a new iPhone. I then decided, Samantha, it's much smarter for you to save up for a new iPhone and then just buy it outright. Or if my phone breaks in the meantime, which it might, then I'll at least have like maybe half the money or whatever. So I didn't accomplish that goal, but it's okay because I made a smarter financial decision, you know? So I already have my goals written out in a like note app on my phone. I just need to transfer them into here so I can like check them off, and then it makes me feel really accomplished and stuff, you know? Also, my oven is preheated, so now I can start making my sweet potatoes. Howling you hear in the background, if you've heard any of it, I don't know how good my speaker is picking it up. It's children outside. Gotta love the amount of noise in my neighborhood, am I right? So this is how I roast my sweet potatoes. I put the oven on 425. I cut my sweet potatoes in half after I wash them. I rub olive oil on all of them, on all their sides. And I'm going to sprinkle it with some kosher salt and flip them over. And then I roast them for like about half an hour or so. And that way I get like a single portion, because I usually eat half of a sweet potato. And it cooks a lot faster than the whole ones, and it cooks a little more evenly, and I just really like it, and you get some nice caramelization on the inside here. Oh, it's so good. You get to see the finished product when I'm done. I did my October cover page. So this was me, and I have practiced doing that font now, so I can kind of do it fairly well. And then these are actually stickers from Aluna Sticker Company, which if I forget to put a link in the description, they sent me some stickers a couple months ago. Then look it up. It's A Luna, like the moon. And they're super, super cute. And these are all like fall themed stickers that are adorable. And this is how the sweet potatoes come out, all roasted and caramelized and wonderful. And this is my dinner tonight. Okay, I made my sweet potatoes for the week. I did some thumbnails for videos and posted some videos. Finished my bullet journal spreads. Gotten a lot done. It is like 9 though, and this is when I like to be getting into bed, so oops. I've also been talking to Sarah Jane on Boxer about stuff for the last like hour, so that's part of the problem. I have to go to sleep now. So I am about halfway done with this book though. Probably will finish it within the next couple of days. that's kind of why I love reading like romance and contemporary books when I do read them, because I finish them so quickly. It makes me feel so like good about myself. Hello, so it's Monday morning and I'm about to head off to work, but I wanted to give a little update because I did read more last night. I'm also not taking my book to work because I'm not taking romance books to work. It's just not something that I'm gonna do. But I'm a little over halfway through, or about halfway through, and the first sex scene happened. So everyone was warning me like there's so much sex in this book and maybe there's a lot going forward now, but this was the first, I guess, like first penetrative, but like really first any sex scene. Like they haven't had any kind of sex until this sex scene. So I don't know why everyone was like, oh my god, it's full of sex. I was fully expecting sex by page 50, and there wasn't. So I'm like, okay. But it definitely is more explicit than other ones that I've read, but thankfully there's not a lot of like weird euphemisms for body parts, like someone's Never Neverland or velvet wrapped steel. That doesn't happen, so that's good. And if this scene had happened earlier in the book, I would probably have been like, oh, it's too much, but since there was a nice workup to it, I was okay with it. Because it's really more about like the character's connection at this point and all this stuff. And I really do like their dynamic, and he is such a sweet being that I wasn't expecting, but he also does like sword fight training. There's a lot of things I really enjoy about him as a character. And I really just like how her autism spectrum disorder is shown, and you know, like how it makes her life. Now I do not have ASD, but some of the things that she has overlap with anxiety, and she does have anxiety in some ways because of a lot of things that happen. So for example, there's been a few scenes where she's overstimulated by like visual stimuli, like a club or something, and that does happen with like my panic attacks. So there's a lot of like overlapping things, or just like she'll start to kind of have panic that's based around her like social interactions and things. So that is something that I'm like, ooh, this feels very, like I feel rooted in this in some way. So that's really nice as well. So I'm really enjoying it. I might finish it tonight when I come home. I don't know, because I'm just flying through it. I don't know if I'll have the time tonight, but I'm definitely finishing it before next weekend. And typically I finish books on weekends because that's when I have the most time to read, but I'm just flying through this one.
There's so much footage of Tally in this vlog. I hope you guys appreciate it.
So it is now Wednesday evening. I have not done a lot of updates because I've only been reading like 1 or 2 chapters over the last couple of days, but I am about 3/4 of the way through and wanted to give a little bit more of an update. So there have been more sex scenes since the original sex scene. There's probably been like 4 or 5 total, I think 4, and not as in-depth. So there is like explicit smut, I guess you would say, but I don't really care that much. I'm just kind of like, whatever. If you're really sensitive to sex scenes, you're probably not gonna like the later half of this book. I'm also able to just kind of like skim and it's fine and whatever. So I'm kind of like, it sort of has something for everybody. I will say that I feel like I'm not loving the last half of this book as much as I love the first. I liked like the slow burnness and the getting over the sex aversion and just the way that they were. And I'm noticing that there's a little bit more like possessiveness from him, not a ton, but I just read a scene where he was like very possessive because a coworker had like kissed her, and obviously like the coworker thing is weird too because it's this like villain that they've created that is so like his character arc, not that he has to have like a very defined one, but I'm just like, he went from being like uninterested in her to being like, you're perfect, and it's one of those like, you know, obviously he's just trying to get her to like check something off his to-do list and whatever, but it's also like, this is so one-dimensional and like, oh, but the main guy is like, you know, I want to beat him up and whatever, and he's like, I need to resist and whatever. I'm still just like, calm down, you know? And also, these two characters are like fairly oblivious. I get that like miscommunication is a thing with romances and whatever. It's one of the main conflicts that happens a lot, but like, they're both like, oh, the other one could never love me, but then they go into depth about their like very passionate sex scenes and deep connection, and I'm like, and they say things like, I love this about you and whatever. So I'm just kind of like, okay, now that we've gotten to the point where we like each other, can you get to the point where you have the main conflict that almost breaks you up, and then get to the point where you're like just together at the end? Because obviously romance books, that's like the formula. So I'm just kind of like, nah, whatever, about some of that stuff. I do really like the family dynamics, especially with his family, and just, I like her as a character and stuff, but I'm not loving the second half as much as the first half. Like the first half, I just like couldn't put it down. And then actually like since the sex started, I'm just kind of like, okay. Cause I feel like the characters are a little bit different in this second half. Like I said, his like possessiveness a bit. And then he has this like looming secret because his dad was a really bad person, and he keeps saying that once Stella finds out what his dad did, she'll never be with him. And I know that's gonna turn out being like something that's maybe probably not a big deal. So I'm just like, can we get to it already? So yeah, definitely like the characters, but I'm so into slow burn that like once couples get together, I'm just like, whatever. So yeah, I'm still really liking it, but like probably not in competition for a new favorite like the Honeymooners, for example. But definitely liking it more than I thought when everyone was like, oh my god, there's only like, it's just all sex. It's like, it's a lot of sex after the first half, which if it was all like this much sex in the entirety of the book, definitely I wouldn't like it. I would have been like, oh my god, I get it, you love having sex, I get it. But like the second half, I'm like, okay, fine. Don't like love it and would prefer that it not be this much, but like, it's fine. Hey, so I'm probably really tired, but I finished the book today, but I didn't bring my camera with me for like a live reaction right after I finished it because I was actually in Philly getting my chemo pour out. If you've been following me for a while, I was sick back a couple years ago, and my port has still been in due to my doctor being a bit superstitious, and then insurance in America is like, what, stupid. And so it just took a long time, and I was not at all like, I was kind of attached to my port in a way, but I got it out today. So while I was waiting to get my port out, I finished the book. So yeah, so the end, I still stand by the fact that I didn't love the book at like the second half of the book as much as the first half. I really liked the first half, and then I found that although the miscommunication sort of made sense because the main character being autistic doesn't have the same necessarily like thought patterns and things like that, I still found the miscommunication like a tad contrived, or almost like the self-esteem issues, especially of the guy. Like he was like, this woman's not gonna love me because of what my father did. You find out like the very end that his dad was a bit of like a thief, embezzler, possibly just like a scam artist. It's like a very minor point because it's brought up at the very end. And it's honestly like, who would think, like I get that this happens, but I'm also kind of like, this dude in other ways is so self-assured in other ways, but I'm like, it doesn't quite make sense for his character that he's so hung up on his dad's misdeeds that he thinks women will judge him for things his dad did. I guess I just never get this, like, the people being scared that they're so similar to their parents. It's a mindset that I don't quite ever understand because I'm like, my parents and I are similar in a lot of ways, but just because they're my parents doesn't mean I'm gonna follow in your exact footsteps. So I never quite understand like that kind of fear in like book characters. So it's hard for me to like understand why this is such like an angsty thing for them. And just both characters for so long were like, the other one doesn't love me, when it's like very blatant they do. I don't know. So I found like that sort of miscommunication. Like miscommunication tropes in romance are very common. It's part of the like angst of a contemporary because you can't do too much with like other kinds of angst that you can in like fantasy and sci-fi. But it's so hard to walk the fine line for me of it being like not annoying, and I found that it lasted long enough in here that I found it kind of annoying, but I still like them as a couple. I'm glad that they like get together obviously at the end because it's the romance and they're going to, and all of that, but it just was like, guys, really? And like again, the villain of the other guy and her like going out with him, which I knew she would do after her and Michael like broke up, was just like, why though? Like she already knows, like, and I get that happens in real life, but I'm like, you already know that he disgusts you. Like what, like why? And he was so over the top because like right after he was flirting with her, he like was pinching some other girl's butt. And I just was like, that's just, I don't know. Like I know romance sometimes can be over the top and that's some of the fun of it, but I'm also just like, no, like I just don't like one-dimensional side characters in romance, and I think that that's something that happens a lot because the authors are so focused on the main couple. I feel like I'm probably moving you around a lot because I have you resting on my knee because my incision's right here and I don't want to lift my arm up because it will hurt a bit. But yeah, I still really liked this. I would say it was like 3.75, I think. If I would have liked it the whole way through as I did the first half of the book, it'd be like a 4 to 4.5, but the second half just like, yeah, I didn't love as much. And also he's very possessive. He has a point where he like punches the other guy, which I'm like, like I don't love this violence thing. Like it's very downplayed from a lot of like, I'm very used to like the possessiveness in or like the hypermasculinity in paranormal romances, for example. But I'm still just like, and I know that sometimes that's romantic, but I was like, you didn't need to punch him. Like, you literally could have like not punched him. You could have intimidated him with your words, you know? So there was just like a couple changes I would have made, but I really like the writing. I didn't find it as hokey as like Sally Thorne's writing, for example, which I hated. I didn't hate like anyone's inner monologues. I like some of the family stuff. And I just thought they were like a cool, interesting, cute couple. Again, another book that I would like to see as an adaptation and stuff. So 3.5 to 3.75. 3.75 feels correct. Stars. As a bonus, do you want to see my new plant babies that I bought? I showed them on Instagram just now too, and it's nighttime, so the lighting's like not super ideal, but as a congratulations victory cheer to myself for getting my port out finally, I bought 4 new plants. So I have a Dracaena Jade Jewel, which is like a nice, almost like variegated Dracaena that needs low light, which is great. I got a Scindapsus pictus, which is a Silver Ann, who's like a pretty trailing plant. This one, I know that the common name is called Wandering Jew, but this is a Tradescanthia sabrina, which is another like trailing beautiful plant. And I got a Hoya, but it didn't say what kind, but it's one that like will also trail. And I got these all from Urban Jungle in Philly because that's where I was for my procedure, and it's one of my favorite plant shops because they carry a lot of these smaller size plants so I can see if they work in my house. And if I kill them, it's like only $10 or less that I've like accidentally killed, instead of like one of these in a like huge thing is like 40 or more. And this too, this one would like in a larger like hanging basket would be like 30. Same thing with these. So like, yeah, so these are some new plant babies. So now I own like 13 or 14 plants. Yay. But yeah, so since that took a little longer than I initially thought when I thought I was going to read this book in like 2 days, this is the end of the vlog. So if you've read the Kiss Quotient, comment below, let me know your thoughts. I'm probably also going to do a full review on this since this had like technically spoilers, although I barely mentioned anything, but I will be doing a full like separate spoiler-free review for people that didn't watch this. But comment below, let me know your thoughts. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.